Hi, my name is Kathy Sheffers, and I'm with Goodheart-Willcox Publisher. I'm joined by my colleague, Katrina Pilo. We are so happy to be with the author team of Amy Lee, Margaret Delahanty Kelly, Catherine Lee, and Maggie Bergeron, who just published a brand new resource for first-year experience courses.
Approaching College with Purpose is focused on the importance of students beginning their educational journey with intention, developing good habits, and creating a strong mindset, and acquiring strategies to ensure a successful transition to college.
This year was a little different for students and teachers alike, with the course being taught sometimes in person, sometimes online. You all talk about the importance of the interactions that help to support student development, whether it's online or in person. Can you talk a little bit about those core interactions?
I would love to speak about the interactions that happen in the classroom and in learning in the first year, and in all the years, actually. So some of the ways that we break down the interactions that happen in the classroom include students and course content. So how are students interacting with what it is they're learning? How are the students interacting with the instructor, and how is the instructor interacting with students? So it's like a two-way relationship there, right? And then how are students interacting with other students in their community, in their classroom, and in sort of the broad social circles that can happen in college. And we also, we feel it's important to name those as different spaces where students are engaging and developing different skills. And it also is beneficial to name these for instructors, because the instructors, it's helpful to be able to see all of these different ways that students are engaging with their environments and with their instructors, and how the instructor can bring some of those like unseen or hidden or implicit moments or interactions or things that are happening in those spaces. How can you bring those out? How can you pull those out and be more explicit with those interactions?
The only thing I'd add to what Maggie was saying that she said so well is the implicit versus explicit. And I think building off of what Amy had said earlier too, about the fact that we talk about engaging diversity or collaborating with classmates as if it's something that we know how to do, and yet it's a number of discrete skills. And so really, in terms of interactions, naming what are the components that are at play within this interaction. So the skill of listening, the skill of understanding what the task is, the skill of understanding why your instructor put you in this group and for what goal, right? Like being very explicit about that and not assuming that our students necessarily get our intention between the various interactions that the book cultivates and asks us as learners and educators to engage in.
Another interesting thing that just came to mind as you were talking, Margaret, is that I think we're inviting students to have interactions between kind of their past, present, and future selves as writers, thinkers, communicators, citizens, human beings. And I think in some ways that's illustrated by the many student voices who are reflecting back on things that were critical moments for them. And also in one of the writing chapters, Catherine goes through some assignments that she got early in her college career, and she's approaching them differently from what she knows and the experiences she has under her belt now, and as somebody writing a book for other college students. And I think you can see there, again, an opportunity for that interaction between past, present, and then she's also looking forward to what she would do if she could do it again. So, and I think that's part of the nature of learning and developing, and certainly for teachers, is that part of calling attention to interactions means that you're calling attention to the fact that things are always dynamic, right? Learning, these are not static things. Critical consciousness, critical thinking, these are dynamic, ongoing processes. They require new things. When you enter a new situation with new people or higher stakes or different knowledge or different content or different writing requirements. And so it's really about supporting people to do what Margaret said, which is to have a process of awareness and readiness and approach for these new interactions, because those are inevitable in school and in life.
And if I could just, one more little thing there too, I think it's all of those things that Amy talked about as being dynamic and shifting also are interacting with the world in which we're living, which is shifting and changing. And I think that that is another piece to that, like another meta example of like how as instructors are we connecting to the world that we're living in and bringing that into the classroom, but also asking students to bring the world that they live in into the classroom as well. How can we find space, make space to connect those worlds and to talk about them?
Forming a habit of reflecting, assessing, and writing about what you read, encounter, and do will have a direct and significant impact on what you take away from any given experience, assignment, project. What tools do you provide that encourage student motivation, completion, and engagement?
When I hear this question, what really comes to mind is metacognition, which is something that's woven throughout the book. And metacognition is thinking about your thinking and kind of connecting new information to other information you have in order to really understand how it's situated. And so metacognition is really seen throughout the book. I would say one great example actually is our In Your Own Words feature, which is featured at the beginning of each chapter and then throughout. And those really help students to reflect on what they're bringing specifically in relation to kind of the content of the chapter, what relevant experiences they have. And then as they encounter new information, they're asked to continually reflect on how that new information relates to their previous thoughts on the topic, their experiences, whether it fits into what they like their previous opinions or thoughts. And so I think that's one way that metacognition is really present in the text. And I think that that really promotes student engagement because it makes the book something that each student engages with in a really unique way that's individual to them.
So this concludes our conversation. Thank you so much for joining us, and I want to thank our authors again for their time today. If you have any additional questions or would like a sample of Approaching College with Purpose textbook and student journal, please contact your GW educational consultant. Thank you again.